Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Bravos Coffee Chat by yours truly, Thomas Raad, myself, founder and broker of Bravos Commodity Trading. And this is news and commentary for week 4 of September 2022. So let's get into it. This video was supposed to be posted yesterday on Friday, but I had just came back from Vitória and the summit, and I could not have, I didn't prepare all the information that I wanted to be able to share with you guys. So getting into the topics of this week, let me just adjust this so you can see. We have the coffee futures dip. We have rain and coffee flowering in Brazil, in the Minas Gerais regions. Updates on ice stocks, the Typhoon, Noru in Vietnam, Porto Aracruz in Vitória. I want to talk about this because I got this from the Vitória Coffee Summit and the Brazil coffee consumption over the last year. So this is also the Brazilian coffee consumption I also got from the Vitória Coffee Summit. So getting into the market for the last week, as everyone has been followed, the market dipped to 220 to 21. Brazilian real exploded to 540. And this is obviously something more interesting for traders, for exporters on their side, because they're able to adjust a little bit their prices, fixed or in differentials, to maybe get some impulse on some life on sales on coffee exports for the new crop. However, in the internal market side, same conversation, same discussion day in and day out. Prices are not high enough. Producers are reluctant to sell. If they're reluctant to sell, it's because they're stacked on capital still for payments. Usually producers, there's a saying and there's a phrase here in Brazil where producers pay when they need, producers sell when they need to. They're not doing a risk management, but they sell when they need to. So that is something interesting for the last week. And getting into rains for October. This is something that I want to actually place this over here. Precipitation estimates for October and versus the precipitation levels over the last 30 years. I'm sorry for that one. Minas Gerais had 28.3 millimeters of rain last week, or 132% of the historical average, and Minas Gerais accounts for about 30% of Brazil's Arabica crop. Correct. But let's look at this over here. This is an updated precipitation estimate for the month of October, which we can see, taking off this play button over here, which we can see that in this yellow region, this is where Brazil's main Arabica crop production is. This is where the Robusta production is. We got some Arabica production in Bahia, down here, up here, and over here. This is Rondônia, which we have Robusta production over here. Now you can see this yellow. I would say we are safely between 130 millimeters and 100 millimeters for the month of October. This is the estimated. This is the graph updated for today that I placed over here for you guys. This is from Meteorologia, which is pretty much the official governmental association of meteorology in Brazil. And on the right side, we have the average levels over the last 30 years. I wanted to bring that up. Oh, actually, not from the last 30 years, but this is from actually 81 to 2010. Excuse me for that. But as you can see, between those years, we've seen a number more likely between 150 to 100. So I guess the range was a bit wider, a bit bigger. I guess you could say closer to 200, depending on regions, right? All down over here. So this is less than the historical average, right? We can see this, and we can clearly see this is less than the historical average. Over this year is a drier month of October in general, but we will see rains and we do see flowering, and let's see how much support that will give for the coffee. Ice stocks, not too much to talk about over here, but it's good to keep following that. We have 435,000 bags. It's just getting lower and lower. We don't have much stocks. We had 640 bags actually pending stocks from yesterday. And we still have around 1.5 million bags of Robusta available. So let's keep in touch. Let's keep our eyes on that up until December. But I would not be surprised if the ice stocks go down to zero. Now to talk a little bit about what happened all the way in Vietnam, which was Typhoon Noru. Um, Traders and everyone was looking at if Typhoon Noru was going to affect coffee crops, because apparently the harvest of Vietnamese Robusta is going to happen in November, and this could cause serious. This could have caused serious complications for our coffee numbers around the world. However, on the good side, I had spoken to a trader all the way in Vietnam, a colleague of mine, and he had commented that no major damages were revealed to Vietnamese crops and that everything is okay. So that is good to go. I wanted to get that actually out of the way, um, and it's actually something positive to hear from the coffee market. This is something that I want to talk to you guys about. Um, the Porto of Aracruz. These are pictures that you're seeing on the screen that I had taken from the presentation of the port. The port is actually a new investment, a completely private container and, if I'm not mistaken, gas and grain port. It will have the capacity to attend even bigger ships, more volume in the region of Espírito Santo, and it's something that got me excited to talk about. These are pictures. These are mock-ups pictures. It's obviously not actual pictures. The port is expected to terminate or to be done construction by 2025, and I think 2024 is the first test operations are going to happen over there. But now, what's the thing with the port of Aracruz? Why am I so excited with it? Even though we had the privatization of the Codesa port in Vitória, the port of Vitória in general, the bay over there, it has an issue with receiving container ships. It cannot receive container ships with more than 2,000, or there's 2,000, an average of 2,000 TEUs, because the depth of the Port of Vitória is not deep enough for bigger post-Panamax ships to pass through. And I want to show you guys over here in a little bit. But the port of Aracruz is supposed to have the depth of 17 meters. And it's going to be able to attend the ships, post-Panamax ships, with 366 meters in length. And if I'm not mistaken, that can add up to, one ship can take up to 14,000, I think, TEUs. I have to make sure of that. Yes, I just looked over here on my other screen. 14,000 TEUs. Actually, I'm going to show it to you guys here really quickly. This is from the site of Imetami, the Porto Aracruz. So you can see that 14,000 TEUs over here, but this is in Portuguese. It's going to receive Cape size ships and VLCC ships also. So this port over here is, in my opinion, going to be a game changer for Espírito Santo. And let me show you guys why really quickly over here through the map. Now I was in Vitória over here. This is the port of Vitória. You can see this is Tubarão over here. This is I think Valles, right? This is the port of Vitória. Now, where is Aracruz? Where's the port? Porto de Aracruz. Just show you guys over here. It's north of Espírito Santo. It's a completely private port and privately administrated on top of that. So it's private investment and private administrated. Now, where is it? Let's see. It's going to be over here. There we go. There's already a port over here. Petrobras has something going on over here, but it's going to be made right in this area. They're building the break. What's that called again? The tide breakers over here, and then you're going to see the rest coming out on this side. Now, why is it interesting? Now let's look out for coffee exports. Linhares, Colatina, São Gabriel da Palha, Jaguaré, São Mateus, Nova Venécia, all Robusta producing coffee regions in Brazil. Baixo Guandu, Aimores, Alfonso Cláudio. Look how close they are to the port of Vitória. So the cost of selling, of preparing Robusta and sending it to the port is going to be much, much cheaper. At the same time, Manhuaçu, the Arabica producing region, main Arabica producing region in the east of Minas Gerais, all closer to the Imetame port of Aracruz. Now let's give you a route over here. So no, let's give you a route. Aracruz. Porto. This one. Now we're gonna put Manhuaçu. How many? We have 330 kilometers. If you're going from up to go through Colatina down to the port. And over here is 315 kilometers. If you're going down and you're going to pass through Vitória, the port of Vitória, Serra, and then going up. Now, that's about 5 hours by car. So by trucks, it's going to be more, naturally. Let's show you Itaguaí, which is the port of Rio de Janeiro that all or most of the coffees from that region are being exported from. 474 kilometers. You see, it's much more complicated to get through to Itaguaí, and you also have to pass. Now you don't have to pass through the city. Actually, that's a good thing about it. But it's 474 kilometers, and trucks. There's already having a lot of movement because Rio de Janeiro already exports from the regions over here also. Now, the port of Aracruz. Let's go back to it. Right? Port of Aracruz. Port of Aracruz is only going to be done in 2025. So until then, we cannot do much. But the port of Vitória is already almost zero in terms of coffee exports out of Vitória. Almost zero, literally. Now, this doesn't mean that just because the Aracruz port is going to open, that we're going to have enough movement of selling coffee to go from that a ship or a shipping company is just going to simply send a ship directly to the port of Aracruz and then go back. No, everything has to pass through Santos anyway. There's always going to be cargo and volume that's going to pass through Santos. But since it's localization, what can be done is that it's a interesting trade route. So anything that comes down to Brazil can pass through the port of Aracruz, be picked up like it is, feeder ships, go down to Santos and continue on its way. Correct? It's not going to be a hassle because since post-Panamax ships are going to be able to pass through here, they can handle more. So they can handle all the cargo they need for coffee out of Brazil in that region, go down to Santos, pick up some more, and continue on its way. So keep that in mind for the next couple of years. It's an interesting strategy, and I'm actually really excited and hope that it does well. Last but not least, coffee consumption in Brazil. They discussed that in the Vitória Coffee Summit. The last 12 months, Brazil has consumed 21.5 million bags, which is 1% over the last year. But the idea is that Brazil is producing 50 million bags this year and 32 of Arabica, or not 32, but estimate of 32, 35 of Arabica, and maybe 20 million bags of Robusta. And if Brazil consumes 21.5, that is almost 50%. And Brazil does not import green coffee. I don't know if everyone knows about this, but Brazil does not import green coffee. It is illegal to import green coffee in Brazil from any other country. So that pushes the region, that makes it so is that Brazil consumes all of its, or almost 50% of its own production. Almost 50% of its own production. And if the government had liberated imports of coffee in Brazil, obviously they're going to be importing coffees much cheaper to make blends cheaper. But since that's not the case, Brazilian roasters and industries will eventually move to the cheaper option and to make blends, which is the Brazilian Robusta. So having said that, it's as much as the consumption is going up, I don't think it's just a cause for worry for any reason in Brazil. It's not scary at all. Versus the rest of the world consumption of 170.3 million bags. Um, Now, I hope you guys really enjoyed this coffee chat. Just wanted to get these news and commentary out for the week. And if you guys have any comments, suggestions, feedbacks, please send them down here below. Send me a message directly on LinkedIn, and we'll discuss everything that is related to coffee. So until the next week, take care and stay classy, everyone.